there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto, and we're doing a driving Q&A like we used to do several years ago. I asked for questions from everybody through the Facebook page, and a lot of people came in with some questions. So let's go ahead and jump into this. And unfortunately, the highway has changed, and now it's through this giant tunnel, so the lighting's not going to be that good for half the video or so. But let's start here and answer your questions.
Alex Bastion says, can you talk about the USS photo crisis and if any solution is in sight?
Okay, so Alex is talking about something that happened 2 weeks ago, and I guess he's calling it the photo crisis. I don't think it has an official name yet, but firstly, for those who don't know, the way that our business works is that you get to browse all of the auctions across Japan and pick the cars that you want to bid on. We translate the auction inspection sheets and the reports for you, and then you choose what to bid on. It's quite a nice little system. And then we use auctions from all across Japan, including about 10 different auction chains and multiple auctions from each auction chain. The biggest one, which is 50% of our sales approximately, is the USS chain, and through copyright reasons, they've eliminated all of their pictures that are publicly available to people through the systems that we use. And this is a pretty big problem because previously what you would do is you would scan the images of the cars, check the auction sheets, send them in to us, we would translate and send them back. But now you can't even see the cars. You can't, they're all censored. And probably a lot of people have run into this as you look on the auction site. Like 3 weeks ago, the auction site, through no choice of our own, deleted all the guest accounts, and that was a bit annoying. And then the following week, they scaled down all the pictures to like 40 pixel pictures, which are, for all intents and purposes, that's full censorship. At the moment, what we're doing is we can send you a copy of any of those pictures. We've talked with USS directly about this, and they said that that doesn't infringe on their copyright if we're sharing it to a single person. And so that's how we're playing it. USS provides a service called Ninja, which allows end-user customers to browse through all of the pictures in full resolution, which looks like it's pretty valuable, but the Ninja system is a lot more expensive than what we're used to paying for, and they importantly limit it to only 50 users are able to log in, and us and plenty of other exporters that are bigger than us have more than 50 customers at any one time. I think we currently have about 200. And so I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I laugh about this because this is my fun face, but really this is a concerning thing for the industry as a whole, and we'll probably see some rather large changes. I actually pressed the button on the voice recorder, so we'll have to listen to that question again, so sorry about that.
Alex Bastion says, can you talk about the USS photo crisis and if any solution is in sight? Bill Courtney says, how is COVID affecting your business?
I did it again.
The used car shortage being any benefit?
Okay, COVID really hasn't been affecting us as much as it has plenty of other types of businesses. Of course, it has a little bit. We actually got like 25% increase in our business throughout the COVID, which is odd because, you would think that this is, to a lot of people, it's really destroying their business. And to us, it has increased the business, which can still be painful because we weren't expecting the increase in the business, so we didn't really have the staff, so we were a little bit slower on that. But as far as the customer goes, there wasn't that much of a change. We've been able to export to all countries. There was, and here we are in the tunnel now, there was a small delay of about a month to Canada, and then the U.S. Postal Service, maybe because of COVID, maybe because of the other reasons, had some pretty big issues, and for like 4 or 5 months we couldn't send anything by post. We normally use DHL anyway, so that wasn't a big problem, but we had a lot of parts come in, our office is full of parts, and we had other things going on at the same time, so it was a little bit of a mess, but I really can't complain. COVID is a difficult thing for so many people, and I'm so I don't know if I should use the word blessed, but I feel really happy that we are not affected as bad as it could be, and that our customers, for the most part, aren't going to notice any difference. In terms of how COVID has affected the market in general, with the type of cars that we export, I haven't really seen any differences in the prices that the vehicles cost or anything like that.
Chad Dalish says, how do you see the JDM export industry going in the next 5, 10, or 20 years and beyond?
Okay, this is a really interesting question because in the Tokyo or Japan just stated that they want to phase out all gasoline engines by 2030, which is only 10 years from now. So in the next 20 years, things could be quite different. But I feel like one of the big differences is that JDM cars are going to become less of our market. We're currently doing about 75% JDM cars and about 25% Euro cars, and I feel like that's going to switch a bit. JDM cars become expensive, as there aren't as many really great JDM cars that were built after the year 2000 as there were back in the 90s and the 80s. Classic Japanese cars may become more of a thing. I guess the Mark IV Supra is now quite a classic car. That sort of older car is going to become harder to buy, as they're going to be more in bad condition, and then the good condition ones are going to be extremely expensive. And I feel like we're going to be doing, and we already are, doing more AMGs, M3s, RS4s, those types of cars. And so I'm really glad to be a big fan of good Euro cars. As some people know, I own an R32. I still currently own the R32 Golf. It's in Canada. And I am interested to see it. We would like to, in the next 10 or 15 years, kind of build out the company to be supportive if the industry changes enough. But that's a decision to make later on. For at least the next 10 years, I suspect things aren't going to change significantly.
Noah Johnson says, what's the secret to your good looks?
This is just a personal friend. I think he didn't have anything good to say, so he just wanted to give me a half compliment. I don't know. I feel like of the two of us, Rory's the better looking one.
Flavia Vidal says, how about a good old live stream like before?
I don't know if you can actually hear this. We're in a tunnel. It's a little bit noisy in here. Flavian wanted to know about our live stream, and actually we had planned to change up the live stream. Here's how it worked. We used to do these videos, and then these turned into a live stream that we would answer the questions live, and that was good, but it wasn't good enough, and I wanted to improve on it. And so last year around December, we stopped the live streams in anticipation to change it up. We got really busy last year, even before COVID, so maybe our increase in sales wasn't completely due to COVID, but we got really busy and had to put that on the back shelf until we had more time. We've got a lot of really good ideas for doing something more like podcast oriented, with more like segments, something a little bit more fun and interesting, because just questions and answers, as nice as it is for the people that need it, it's not as entertaining for those that aren't actively looking to purchase. And we wanted to make something that had a little bit of a broader audience. And we're out of the tunnel here, and I think that was 14 kilometers.
Question mark. Brenda Cutter says, what's the latest with the Honda City Turbo?
Okay, if you don't know, I own a Honda City Turbo I've had for a year and a half. And when I got it, I was like, yippee, here's our new project car. And I was so excited about it because that's a car I've always wanted to own, the Honda City Turbo. Shortly after that, I bought a Motocompo to go kind of the set type thing. And I still own both of those. And the Honda City is running. We've shot a video of it. We actually have a bit of a problem with shooting videos. And we have like 40 videos that we've shot but need to be edited. So we are looking for an editor possibly, but we want somebody who can be in Japan, who can shoot, who can edit, who can produce, and really come up with some really great content. But I realize it's really hard to find that type of person. We're very, very particular about how the content turns out. So there is that. As far as the City goes, the engine has been fixed. It is running. It is ultra rusty and needs a full restoration, and I've got money set aside for that. I just need to set up a time because I want to get all of the restoration of it on video as sort of content to put up. That's a car I intend to own long term. And it is old and parts are scarce, and it's very difficult for it to continue owning one of those unless we do an engine swap or something. And I'd like to keep it more kind of original. It's a classic car, and I love it very much for its classicness and originality. Yeah.
Colin Wilbur says two very important questions. 1J, 2J, or RB, which do you like better?
I don't know. I can answer the question. The Toyota 1J and 2J or the RB26. I have an answer. every time I've talked about this, I'm not sure if it's where I'm talking about it. It always seems to be around people that think that there is a correct answer to this. And here's the way that I feel about it. Whether it's the RB and the 1J, or you're talking about PlayStation versus Xbox versus Nintendo Switch, people seem to think that it's reasonable to associate yourself with one, make a decision for which one that you like better, and then poop on the other one. And I really don't feel that way when I talk about things that I like. Like, these are both good engines, and if I were to say one is better, it doesn't mean that the other one is worse. And I mean, like a bad engine. And both of them are really good in their own ways. Whenever I drive a 1J, I feel very happy about that. And the same thing happens with the RB26. These days, both engines are pretty dated. Most modern engines are engineered in a better way and are more fuel efficient and maybe have a higher ceiling for tuning and whatnot. But both of those are iconic engines. I have quite a bit of experience with both of them. If I was to pick one or the other, I really like how the RB is built more like a racing engine, whereas the Toyota one is built more like your typical passenger engine. A lot of people say like the 1J is overbuilt, but that's all of Toyota engines, and I love Toyota engines for that. But I like the individual throttle bodies on the RB26, and I just think that there's a feeling you get out of it that's hard to explain exactly what it is. And I think if I sat down and really tried to work out what it was, I could come up with the right words to say. But I think being right on the spot, it's a little bit difficult to say. Next question.
If I wire some yen, can you get me some moto compound gachapon?
Colin, the person who sent that in, actually has something to do with the car that I'm driving right now, because I bought this car on the same day that he bought his car, and this was originally his bid, but he won something else. It's kind of interesting. So we're driving the BB open deck, kind of a pseudo pickup truck, pseudo economy car. Very cool. I posted a video not that long ago about gachapon, which is a Japanese thing that is extremely popular. What it is you put your money into a machine, and inside are a bunch of toys, and you don't know which one you're going to get, and you turn the thing and you get a toy. And, you know, they have this all over the world, but in Japan it's so popular. You'll go to a shopping center and they'll have like 30 or 50 machines all lined up all together, and there'll be a diverse array of things. There'll be like Sailor Moon ones, and then Kimetsu no Yaiba ones, or like One Piece, and it's like new popular things and old popular things. There's a little bit of something for everybody, and I got a Motocompo from there, and it's on my desk now, and it's cool, and I shot a little video about it. I'm not really going to be buying things from the machines and sending them out to you, Colin. I'm sorry about that, because once I start, then I gotta send it to everybody, and everybody's gonna want one, and we've got tens of thousands of people that might want something like that. And no, that's not the industry that I want to be in. Although I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does that, somebody on the internet.
Jordan Unger says, what price would you expect an average R34 would be in and including shipping?
Yeah, this is something that we get all the time. How much does this car cost? And then we don't hear what country that you're from. And so there's the cost of the car, there's our fees, there's the cost of shipping, which is going to be different per country, and then there's the cost of importing, which is going to be vastly different per country. Like, for example, the US is 2.5% import tax, plus you have to pay for DOT filing and EPA filing and ISF filing and all of these various things. And I can get you a price for that, but then there are some countries where the import tax is like over 100% that you have to pay for import tax. And so just knowing the price of the car in Japan doesn't mean that you will know necessarily how much money that you have to spend on that. Now the R34s, this is another common problem. I want an R34, but there's a GTR, which is way more expensive than the GTT, which is also quite a bit more expensive than the non-turbo, and then you can get it with the 2-liter or the 2.5-liter for the non-turbos for some reason. I don't know why Nissan decided to do that. And then prices change a lot too. Like last year, the R34s were cheaper than they are this year, and so if I'm making content telling you about the prices of things, it's not content that has a very long shelf space, so to say. IKEA's right over here. At the moment, the R34 GTRs are about 4 million to 8 million yen, depending on the condition. That's about $40,000 to $80,000 plus costs. The GTT, which is the turbo 2.5 liter engine version of it, is about 1 million to 2.5 million, and that's about 10,000 to 25,000. And as you notice, there's like a big difference in prices, and so this even cuts out the really, really bad ones on one side and the really, really good ones on the other side, kind of your 80% cost of all of them. That's how I typically like to say prices. And then in that, I'll narrow it down and say I find that the best value for these, for example, the 25 GTT, best value is somewhere between 1.2 to 1.5 million yen, so 12,000 to 15,000. You can go up to 25,000. I find those ones aren't very good value, though.
Nelson Chan says, did you ever talk about some importer shipping cars with the JDM plates before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about that. So a lot of people want to have the license plates that come on the cars here in Japan, and you're not allowed to do that. If you want, I mean, some people do it. You can get replica plates if you want, but if you own a real JDM plate, then that plate was stolen. It doesn't belong to anyone. You're not allowed to ship them out of the country. If you deregister a car, and so before we export the cars, we have to deregister them, and part of the deregistration is handing the plates back in. And if you don't have the plates, you can't deregister unless you tell the police here that the plates are lost, and you file a police report, and then you take that police report and give it to the registration office. We've had to do that before when plates get lost in the mail or something, but no, we're not willing to pretend to lose plates so that you can get some. Replica plates are pretty good, and some of the places you can get what you want written on them, so you can replicate a plate that you would have had on your car, for example. And there are, and I can't endorse this, but there are official plates that you can buy on eBay in the USA. But it's illegal. Well, it's illegal in Japan. You're not going to get in any trouble.
Jamie Phillips says, can you talk about importing project or non-running cars via container? Any possibility of grouping cars for customers to ship them together?
Okay, so shipping by container is a lot more expensive. We ship roll-on, roll-off, which is like a giant car ferry, and this is a really easy way to ship because as soon as you get the car, you can ship it out, and it's cheap. It's usually about $1,000 to $1,500 for most ports around the world per car. Container, a 20-foot container with a single car is going to be about twice the price or more to ship to your port. You can do a 40-foot with up to 4 cars in it. That's approximately about the same as roll-on, roll-off, but you have the issue of having to wait until you have 4 cars to send, and then you have to buy 4 cars in a week, so you're going to find the cars that you want in a week when one car typically can take 3 or 4 weeks to find. We can do it. For most customers, it's not going to be worth it, and then here's the thing is if you're shipping just the one car in a container to send to you, you better hope that that's a car that's worth doing, because you can probably, for an extra $500, find one that's in poor condition but is running or hasn't been in an accident, and then you can ship that for less. And so most people who ask for parts cars or something like that, I just recommend finding a lower condition car that is running and is rolling, and then you can export it. Just know that if it is a poor condition car and it breaks down prior to export, you have to, and you still want to ship it ro-ro, you have to get that car running, and you have to pay for the costs of a mechanic, which can be a bit more expensive here in Japan. Oh, can you group together with other people? It depends on the country, and the answer is yes in most cases, but when you're adding more people to the mix, it's more issues to deal with. Everyone needs to be on the exact same page before you do it, and finding that many people to kind of agree to the extra costs of container usually doesn't happen.
Mano says, would you consider for the future exporting JDM parts, or maybe it's too much effort for the profit?
So we commonly send things, single items that come in the car. The problem with doing that as a business that we actually do is for example, I'm having trouble getting this out. We don't advertise that you can buy parts through us and then export it. We won't do it for you unless you're a good customer of ours and we like you, because It's really expensive to do that and not worth it for most customers, but there are very unique times where you can get one part and it's worth doing that, but we literally don't make enough money in order to make that worth it, and it's really just a favor that we would give. And if you're mean to me or my staff, I don't want to give you favors. Does that sound too blunt? Maybe. But container of parts, yes, it's very much worth it to ship a whole container of parts, but you need to invest like $50,000 in parts per container for it to be worth it. And in fact, if there are companies that are investing in containers like this, they can ship for way, way, way less, like 6% of the cost of shipping if they're packing everything into a big container and spreading out those costs over multiple parts. So yes, it's something I want to get into, but I don't want to get into it right away because it requires a lot of overhead. We would need to get a warehouse, hopefully with loading facilities on hand so that we can do our own loading, because loading can be expensive, or can be a place where they scam you. Like we have sent motorcycles before, and like a small motorcycle that might be 1 cubic meter in size, they intentionally package to be like 3 cubic meters in size so that they can make more money on the packaging and or the shipping, and there's maybe kickbacks, and it's just a lot of things that I don't really want to have to deal with. I like trusting the people and the companies that I have more control over, and I don't want to really have a business that's not going to be competitive with other companies, to be honest. And we got about another 4 minutes, so maybe we can get through a few more.
Julian Carrington says, maybe recommendations on importers, or at least the most frequent importer you see used in your transactions, specifically for the USA.
Okay, for the USA, we have a broker, and the broker imports the vehicle for you. I'm not clear on the terminology that you're using when you say an importer, because there's a customs broker, and then there are companies that are importers, and what they do is they'll hire a customs broker, but they'll comply and register the vehicle for your country. For the USA, you don't need that type of person. You just go into the DMV, and you register the vehicle like it's any used vehicle, albeit you have to put a smile on your face when you go to do that, because some people in the DMV have a bad day and might take it out on you, and we've had that happen several times where they're wrong, but they don't want to admit they're wrong, and it becomes an issue even though you've done everything right. Importers for other countries, this is a bit of a tough one because we know a lot of people in other countries, but we can't necessarily recommend them because they're our buyers. And then there's this client attorney privilege. Maybe that's the wrong term because we're not lawyers. But we don't want to say who our buyers are because they don't want to know who they're buying from. Otherwise, their customers might go directly with us. And so I do recommend buying from our customers. And this is not only in order to boost up their sales, and we have only 2 more minutes left, but I think that it's pretty... you need to know that buying from Japan yourself is more work than buying from an importer, and not all customers are prepared for the extra types of stress and the extra types of work that you have to do by importing yourself. And so it is more like running your own little mini business than it is buying from a company that sells something.
Adam Owen says, Derek, can you talk about the Hi-Ace vans?
Yeah, I can't talk too much about the Hi-Ace vans because I could talk forever about them, but that would be just a Hi-Ace video. They're fantastic vans. If you haven't heard of the Hi-Ace, they're great. 4-wheel drive, automatic transmission for most of them. You can get manuals if you really want. Diesel engine, turbo diesel in many cases. Plenty of room, very well built. Great vans.
Says, what are your top picks for export right now? That many classics are rising in value significantly. For example, most of the JZX 100 cars are quite a bit more expensive, even with the automatic transmission, than they used to be. Are JZS 171 Crown Athlete V's still well priced?
Oh, wow, that's a lot of question there. Okay, so cars that are currently popular, it really depends on the market. Every market has their own popular cars, and usually popular cars tend to be highly competitive, and there aren't the problem that you run into, and hopefully I have enough time to explain this, is that if it's a car that is not popular, you might have a tougher time trying to resell that in your country because people don't know about it and don't know to search for that name. And so kind of the way that it works is pricing comes down to exactly the price that the cars should be for the market. Just know that some cars are going to be too expensive to import to your country because they're more popular in another market. And I think we only have a few more seconds here, so I can't really, like, we only get 25 minutes for these videos, max for this camera. And I'm just pulling into our parking spot right now as it is. So we're going to end the video there. Hope you enjoyed the questions. We might do this every once in a while just for fun and to kind of catch up on nostalgia. But anyways, that's all for now. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice day.